Do you think $1,000 a month isn't enough to live on anymore in 2025? Well, these countries might just change your mind. You won't believe how far $1,000 can take you in these places. Incredible countries with a lot to offer. Even though it's 2025, costs are rising fast. There are still some places you can live on with only $1,000 or maybe a little bit more, depending on how good you are at budgeting and your lifestyle. And to be honest with you, $1,000 a month is much harder nowadays to get a very comfortable lifestyle. You will be in trouble if you only have $1,000. I really recommend having some money saved up for emergencies. The first place on the list is where I live, and personally my top choice in 2025 to live on $1,000 or less. Overall, I think the costs in this country are much lower than anywhere else in the world. And I spend about $800 a month, including rent, and I live a very comfortable life. I could spend a lot less, but I'm pretty comfortable here. And with $1,000, you could live a pretty good life here. Going out sometimes, eating a mix of Western and local food, a nice studio, or even a one-bedroom apartment. All of it is possible here. The country I am talking about is Vietnam. Without a doubt, one of the cheapest countries you can live in. The main cities here for expats are usually Hanoi, Saigon, and Da Nang. Living in Hanoi and Saigon are really chaotic and can be stressful if you're looking for somewhere calm and a nice beach. If you wanted a city lifestyle, then they are decent options. These cities are not too expensive compared to Bangkok, but they are not as comfortable and enjoyable as Bangkok, I'd say. Da Nang is a very popular expat location now that you can enjoy for a very good price. Studios and apartments can go from $300 to $600 for basic but comfortable accommodations. If you want luxury, you can get that too in Vietnam, but I think the basic accommodations like nice studio or one-bedroom apartment are more than enough. Food and lifestyle is also very affordable. You can get around with a scooter or use Grab. Street food can be anywhere from $1 to $3 and tastes really good. You also have delicious Western food like Korean food and Japanese food for about $5. Da Nang offers a beach lifestyle at an affordable price, and many people say has the best beach in the country, which I agree with. Nha Trang is the only place that comes close in the south. Overall, this country is great for what you get, but it's not as modern and built up as Thailand. In the main cities, there are no trains or metros that connect throughout the city. Saigon just opened a new metro, but it only has one line, which is very frustrating. I really hope they develop more lines soon. Also, it's very loud in Vietnam. Cars here love to honk and honk and honk. So noise pollution is on the next level, I think. Maybe only India compares to Vietnam. Or India's probably worse, but Vietnam is much closer to India when it comes to noise pollution versus Thailand. Also, the language barrier can also be a challenge at times. But if you have ChatGPT, it's pretty good at interpreting the actual meaning of words in Vietnamese. These are some things you will need to get used to if you want to live in Vietnam, but it's a good option. You can get a visa on arrival or apply for a 3-month online visa, or you can apply for an e-visa and get 3 months stay. I do think the costs of Vietnam will go up over the next few years, so it's better you come now than later. If you do want to live here, a budget of $800 to $1,200 is very comfortable. You might go slightly over 1K if you don't worry about prices and go out a lot, but if you don't, then 1K is definitely doable. Have you been to Vietnam? I'd love to hear what your experience with Vietnam was like. Now, the next place on the list is somewhere you might not expect, but you can live here on $1,000 a month, or maybe slightly a little bit over $1,000 a month, depending on your lifestyle. And the next place, I specifically will be talking about one city because I am not too familiar with the other cities, and I think this is probably the most comfortable city in the country to live in. So besides Singapore, this city is a great place to stay if you want to travel around Asia. It can also offer a nice, luxurious lifestyle. The place I am talking about is Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And for many countries, you can get a 3-month visa on arrival. Many locals speak English, which makes it easier to meet locals compared to Vietnam. Besides that, it's a very diverse location of Malays, Chinese, and Indians, giving you a very diverse community to meet and to learn about. The beauty of the city is that the infrastructure is better than the ones in Vietnam. I'm not saying there's no traffic, but overall it's more organized. The roads are much bigger and more space. You also have a metro system that makes getting around a lot easier. It seems like there's more thought to the planning behind Kuala Lumpur, while Vietnam cities can be more chaotic, which can be a good thing if you want some chaos in your life. Comparing prices directly to Saigon, the cost of living is about 10% higher based on Num Bio, which I think is accurate. KL is becoming more expensive, which is a negative, especially if you want a nicer lifestyle. If you want some comfort, but not over the top, then 1K or maybe even pushing to 1.5K if you're bad at saving like I am. Still, the benefits of the city can make it a great place to live for a few months. I think this city will be a lot easier to to transition to if it's your first time living in Asia compared to somewhere like Vietnam, because you have more English and it's a little bit more organized. However, it's not perfect like I said before. There will be pollution, traffic, parts of the city that are not clean, but that's what you get with a lot of places in Asia. 1 month in Kuala Lumpur can cost you around 1K. However, that's you being very careful with your budget and living within your means. You can go over if you don't pay attention, but I think 1K is very doable. Just budget a little bit more just in case. On top of that, try not to rent a very expensive apartment. If you don't want to live in Asia, then I have another option in Europe that can be a little bit more affordable. However, Europe in general is way more expensive than Asia, so 1K in Europe will be a lot harder. Luckily, there is one country that 1K can go pretty far. The next place on the list is not a destination that comes to mind for many people when they think Europe, but it can be a great destination, especially if you're going further to Eastern Europe. The country I'm talking about is Bulgaria. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that 1K a month in the bigger cities will be hard. Like I said, Europe is expensive. Even Eastern Europe can be expensive. But smaller cities, this budget can be doable. If you're looking for a cheap place to live in Bulgaria, Bansko is popular with digital nomads, but some find it too quiet and prefer cities with more to do. Sofia is also an option, but you'll need around 850 euros or more. And while it has good entertainment and expat communities, it can be crowded and dirty in the winter. Now the next one I have a very hard time pronouncing, Plovdiv. I hope I got that right. It's a great alternative. It's cheaper, has things to do, but gets really hot in the summer. If you want to live by the sea, Varna has nightlife and some foreign communities, while Burgas is quieter with great summers but boring winters. I think Burgas is a very great option, very affordable option if you want to live in Bulgaria. Other budget-friendly cities like Veliko, Tarnovo, and Stara Zagora are also walkable and affordable. Rent usually ranges from 250 to 400 euros, but utilities, especially heating in the winter, can be pricey. Groceries cost about 200 euros. Of all the countries in Europe, I think Bulgaria is a very affordable country, but like I said, the bigger cities will be harder to live on only $1,000 a month. So you might have to look towards the smaller cities to find a very affordable option. However, there are some foreign communities in these cities. So who knows, maybe you can find a temporary home in the smaller cities. Asia has the most affordable options if you want to live on a budget within $1,000 a month. And this next place will be in Asia, but not in Southeast Asia. And this is probably going to be a shocking option, but I think it's one of the most affordable options in Asia for the quality you get and for the excitement and the culture. But I will be honest, it's not a very popular option. I don't think many people will be happy to go because it's very difficult to get a visa for this country. It takes a while and there's a lot of other hurdles to get over. The place I am talking about is China. Now, before you say anything, give me a chance to explain myself. I know it might seem scary or like a bad idea, but I know many people that have lived in China and have loved their time there, and they say how it was not very expensive for them to live there. You have a few different cities that you can live on $1,000 a month or around $1,000. You have Guangzhou, a big and exciting city with many different neighborhoods to explore. People love walking around, trying different foods, and enjoying the parks by the Zhu River. Some say it's crowded with heavy traffic, but others like how relaxed and interesting it feels compared to other cities. While some areas are better for expats and travel can be tricky, many still find it to be a great place to live, especially with its warm winters and rich culture. And if that doesn't seem like a city for you, you also have Shenzhen, which is slightly more expensive, but a more modern and efficient city close to Hong Kong, making travel easy with many flight options. It's fairly safe and has a young business-minded population. However, it lacks cultural depth and can be slightly more expensive than the other options, like I mentioned. And also, summers are hot and humid there, but the city's convenience and energy attract many people. Now, if you didn't like these two options, you also have Chengdu. And Chengdu is often ranked as one of China's happiest cities due to its balance of economic development and relaxed lifestyle. It has a vibrant late-night culture, a strong music scene, and is considered one of the most LGBT-friendly cities in China. The food scene is diverse, with Sichuan, Tibetan, and Uyghur cuisine, though some Western restaurants have struggled due to economic downturns. Locals are also known for being friendly and hospitable, especially compared to Shanghai or Beijing. However, pollution, muggy summers, and heavy smoking culture are all drawbacks. The city has great public transport, high-speed rail access, and a laid-back atmosphere. While integration as a foreigner is limited, Many find it enjoyable and a welcoming place to live. So there's many options for living in China, and they're all reasonably priced for modern cities. Shenzhen is the most expensive, but that's okay because Guangzhou and Chengdu can also be great options. Now the downside is obviously the long visa process, and on top of that you will need a VPN, and you will be cut out from the outside world with no Google. And learning the language is mandatory, I'd say, if you want to live there a year or more, just to really get the most out of the country. If you're fine with that, you can really enjoy China. I have another video talking about places that are getting way too expensive that once were very affordable, but now you need more than $1,000, maybe even $2,000. I think that's an interesting video for you to check out, just so you get an idea of how much times have changed. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope it has inspired you or given you ideas of where you might want to live as an expat or as a nomad.